Good evening. Today's date is Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. This is the meeting of the Coffeyville City Commission. Tonight's invocation will be conducted by Pastor Mike Elrod of the Westside Christian Church. I ask that you stand for the invocation, remain standing during the Pledge of Allegiance following the invocation.
Father in heaven, the Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I come to you on behalf of these men who are making decisions for the benefit and the welfare of the people that they represent. And I just ask, Lord, that you would give them wisdom. Pray, Father, that you would remind them of their duties and their jobs, and that they would be able to just make the decisions that would be beneficial to those people they represent. Father, we just also ask, Lord, that you'll help them not compromise integrity or truth when they make decisions, Father, that you would just help them remember that they represent, and always do, represent something that is greater than themselves. Just pray, Father, that you would grant these men the things that they need in order to accomplish the things that they desire to do. We thank you so much for them willingness to just represent us and to help in this way our community. And we just pray, Father, that they are blessed because of their service. And we just ask, Lord, that you will just help all of those that are here to participate as well, that you would just remind them that they too represent something greater than themselves, and that we would all express our feelings and our voice in a way that always extends compassion and love and courtesy and respect. Father, it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Tonight's consent agenda, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, December 27, 2016, and 2017 appropriation ordinance AO-17-01 in the amount of $1,059,295.37. Any corrections or additions to the minutes, or any questions about the ordinance AO-17-01? Nope. Seeing none, I'll poll the commission. I make the motion that we approve the minutes and the ordinance AO-17-01. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Martin seconded that motion. Mayor votes aye. Commissioner Martin?
Aye.
Commissioner Castler? Aye. Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer?
Aye.
Motion passes. Second appropriation ordinance, AO-17-01-A, in the amount of $3.08 payable to Taylor Crane. I make the motion that we approve that. First of all, do we have any questions about that?
No.
Seeing none, I make the motion that we approve that appropriation ordinance AO-17-01-A. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
The mayor makes the motion. Commissioner Bauer makes the second. I'll poll the commission. Commissioner Bauer?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Abstain.
Williams votes yes. Commissioner Castler?
Aye.
Commissioner Martin?
Aye.
Motion passes. No proclamations or old business. Moving on to new business. Discussion and action to appoint a new 4-year term on the Park Advisory Board serving until January 1st, 2021. The applicant is Frankie Hall. Is Mr. Hall present?
I am. Oh, mercy.
Ask you to come forward and introduce yourself to the commission and tell us why you want to be on the Park Advisory Board, sir.
First of all, I'm Frank Hall. Nice to be here. Just want to give back to the community. I feel I've been here for many years, and I think my knowledge and what I do might help with some decisions that need to be made. So that's my interest in it.
Any questions for Mr. Hall?
He's a returning or he's a new applicant? Okay.
Questions? Questions, no
Do
questions.
you, what's the first thing you think of when you think of our parks?
I think some are needing some upkeep. There's a lot around the city. I'd look at where they're at located within the city. I have started doing that already, trying to get a better feel for what might need to happen with them. So,
We've had the Parks Board now about a year. I think we're starting to get to the stage now where we're going to come back with hopefully, come back with a plan and move forward with something.
okay.
I have no more questions.
Any additional questions for Mr. Hall? Seeing none, I make the motion that we appoint Frankie Hall to serve on the Park Advisory Board, serving until January 1st, 2021. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mayor makes the motion, seconded by Commissioner Martin. All in favor of appointing Mr. Hall to that position, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay. The ayes carry the motion. Mr. Hall, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Second item on the agenda, resolution number R-17-01, a resolution to submit an airport capital improvement plan for fiscal year 18 through fiscal year 2022. Data sheets to the FAA. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Every year, we have to update it's a 5-year ACIP plan or Airport Capital Improvement Plan. These sheets get submitted to the FAA. It is what the FAA uses to award different grants, as well as enables us to apply for entitlement funds. Each year, it sounds like there's some question on how much is going to be continuing, but typically, every year we get $150,000 in entitlement funds. We can bank those up to a total of 4 years, up to a $600,000 FAA funded project. All this really is kind of shows what projects kind of we need in the next 5 years, or could possibly the next 5 projects. Really is what it is for the airport. There's no guarantee that we can get these projects done. There's no saying the city is going to fund these projects no matter what as well. It's strictly a kind of a comprehensive plan, or just a planning. This is what we're going towards with our airport. Be happy to answer any questions on this.
Questions on this item?
So we apply and they grant it, and then they keep the money until,
They how this works every year. The FAA gives us the entitlement funds. Typically, they've been for as long as I've known, $150,000 a year. Sounds like there's some stuff going on right now that they may be changing how the entitlement funds work. I don't really have any information on that, just that there is some talk of it changing. Basically, these projects are stuff that could be done, or that we foresee needing to be done on the Coffeyville Municipal Airport. But basically, those entitlement funds are there. We can bank up to, like I said, 4 years or $600,000. We are actually using the last 4 years worth of banked entitlement funds for the overlay that we awarded
Right.
to Burns and Mac for design. I believe it was last commission
Okay.
meeting.
so where does the money stay?
The FAA just
They keep it in
It's in a fund somewhere.
okay, so they keep it, and then when we're ready for it, we apply
We
for it.
apply to use it.
Okay.
And that's what that grant application that we approved last commission meeting was, is we're actually going to use those entitlement funds for a project. This is just the every year planning stages. These sheets also are what the FAA looks at for other non-entitlement grants. A lot of times runways are in the running for other grants from the FAA, and that's where these sheets come in as well. They look at these two.
So you have to come
projects.
forward for this resolution every year?
Yes. Usually it's December to January timeframe.
Why would we not want to do it?
It's like I said, it's pretty much every year we do this.
Thank you.
Have we not ever used all the money? I mean, you said so every 4 years.
We can bank up to 4 years worth of $600,000. A lot of projects, like if you'll look at the runway projects,
Yep.
they're several million.
Yeah.
dollars.
I looked them
So
over.
those entitlement funds will never really help pay for that. They may be a portion of it.
Right.
But really what we have on here is more for getting those other grants.
So if we don't use it on the 5th year, do we lose the first?
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
goes away.
every 5th year,
Yep.
the 4th year, or the
Any
first year would fall
unspent
off then,
entitlement funds.
if we don't spend it.
Sometimes, like if they have another project that's needing some more funding, they'll ask, and like, I know we gave El Dorado, I believe it was, I don't remember how much, but there was like 10,000 or something like that left over, and we were able to give those away so that they're still being utilized by.
I have no more questions.
Additional questions on this item?
Nope.
I move to approve resolution number R-17-01. Do I have,
I'll second.
motion was made by the mayor, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. This is a resolution, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying no. The ayes carry the motion. Resolution number R-17-02, resolution to set a public hearing for February 14th, 2017 at 6:30 PM for vacation of the right-of-way in Coffeyville, portion of Sterling Street. Thomas Osborne made comments.
In 2012, we vacated a lot of streets, kind of the 100 blocks roughly north of First, where the rail yard was originally going to go for the refinery. This part of, it's actually Laurel Street, the county has given it a Sterling address, even though it's street right-of-way, was missed because it was never built. So we didn't realize it was a public right-of-way. And so this is just kind of to go back and get that vacated so they'll deed over to the refinery and start producing taxes for the city.
Is that the one just to the west on the other side of the railroad tracks?
That one is just west of TKI. Kind of, I think
North of First Street?
Yeah, it's north of First Street.
They already got it closed.
Yeah, they have everything all the way around. It was missed in that initial, it was never built, so it wasn't realized it was a road right away until the county sent us a tax bill. So
I got no question.
Questions or discussion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R-17-02.
Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
I heard Commissioner Castler first. Commissioner Taylor made the motion. Commissioner Castler made the second. All in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying no. The ayes carry the motion unanimous.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's the end of tonight's business. Next item on the agenda, discussion on commission meeting broadcast. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
I'm the one that asked him to put that on there. I've had concerns with it for a while. I'm surprised I haven't got one yet. During normal meetings, I usually get 2 or 3 messages. I can't hear it, I can't see, it's fuzzy, it's black, numerous things. And the last commission meeting I was not at, I actually watched it from my iPad, and it's not the greatest quality broadcast. I've heard that it's because we're in a temporary location and we're using temporary equipment. We've been over here since I've been in commission since August of 14. It may be temporary, but this is where we're doing business. It's, I think that we need to make sure that we're broadcasting exactly what we want to represent. And if this is what we want to represent, I'm not okay with it. I don't know what we can do to improve it. 2 meetings ago, I'm sorry, it was last meeting, I was watching it. Last meeting, somebody, I think it was Commissioner Taylor, asked about meetings that are online. I myself have personally looked for meetings before that I could not find. I don't know why they're not there. I looked on YouTube as well. You gave me the links to these things. They're just not there. That's a problem as well. I mean, there's times that I know there's been said things that I want to go back to hear what was said, and I can't find them. Does anybody else have any issues with our broadcast?
I've heard a lot of complaints, but I've never dealt with it myself. I've never watched the video, so I can't really speak to that.
I would recommend that you watch the video and try to find the latest one. I've done it enough times now that I can find it fairly easy, but it'll take you a little while to find it. And like I said, you will not find every commission meeting. There should be an archive. We should have an archive someplace or some kind of policy that after, 2 or 3 years that we allow them to, be erased or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a computer expert, but there has to be a better way of what we're doing here.
Go ahead.
We talked about this last meeting, talked about it a little bit. We got some, public citizen videotaping it for this very reason, for the reasons that you mentioned, Justin. And so that's kind of a good thing in my opinion. I can get my hands on that anyway. I talked to Chris. I asked him to come up to the podium and told him we might need his help. I guess you told me what, Chris, there was 2 or 3 of the meetings we couldn't get. Is that accurate, you
There
think?
was the August of 2015 meetings, so those 2, and the first one in September, is that correct?
I don't remember the dates exactly, but some of them.
That were lost as they was transferred over. Help me with the technical.
It depends. If the machine here locks up during a recording or during a stream, going to save that doesn't happen. It just quits. I can't speak to those meetings. That was a year ago. I don't remember the circumstances with those.
Is there a reason why the machine locks up? Is it a machine issue? Is it a streaming issue? I mean, what is the issue?
We had a network issue at around that time, and that's been resolved.
The August of last year issue, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than Mr. Taylor, does anybody else have any issues with our broadcast at all?
I've gotten the same feedback, I believe, as what Justin and Marcus have from citizens that have tried to watch, and
Are they watching it on Channel 13, or are they streaming it on the internet?
I believe it's on Channel 13.
Ones I
They're
know is
trying to watch
13.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they may
Sometimes
be
you get
watching
no
it.
sound, and I get the same thing as what Commissioner Martin
Yeah.
gets, text during it, I can't see anything, or I can't hear anything, or, it's fuzzy,
Yeah.
things like that. And I don't know that's just what I get.
Can you do besides what you're doing, a standalone recording of the meeting and then put that on like I said, I'm kind of like Commissioner Martin.
I think we need to speak up a little bit part of the time.
I think what you're asking is very.
Can you not do a standalone recording and then place that recording somewhere else so the public would have access to it, such as YouTube, such as a link to this you put a link on the city website and that directs you to that YouTube channel?
Yep, we can do that. It just requires another piece of hardware, but it's minimal cost.
Chris, are we done talking? If not, why don't you come up to the mic? So unless we're done, okay? That's our rule.
I'm done. I just add.
Okay, okay.
I think the solution to that is you do a standalone recording, and you just put that on the YouTube channel
In addition to.
in addition to what
the
you're doing
streaming,
now.
yeah.
So basically, you just set up a recorder and video recorder and record it, and then
Well-
you transfer it the next day to
Now,
that.
that does solve future, viewing issues, but what about the one that's currently being broadcast right now? There has to be a way to improve the quality of what we're doing now.
I can't answer that question.
Well,
The broadcasts that I have went back and looked at, the recordings, I don't see issues with them. So there may be some issue with the live feed on 13, that the ones that are recording well. I don't have problems hearing. Other than sometimes we don't speak up or aren't right in front of the microphone sometimes. But that's human error, not technical issues.
So if that's a problem with Channel 13, is that not something we're paying for now?
And it's
They're
it's a
providing
free-
that to us
yes,
still?
it's-
Yeah,
They
okay.
provide that to us for free.
Okay.
Well,
The live broadcast is tested before every meeting,
Okay.
audio and video.
We have the television in the other room right there that we physically
Check it.
test to make sure that it's on and working.
well, trying not to sound like a ogre here, but I haven't heard any solutions to the problems that I get hit up with every week, Mr. Castler gets hit up with, and Paul. I've heard, well, this is maybe the problem, that's the problem. So these same problems are gonna exist next week, and when I get told the next day at work, or by my wife who's watching at home, or by my brother or several friends, that I can't hear, it's fuzzy, I'm looking at the ceiling, or, you know, it's showing reruns of, you know, Sanford and Son. We still haven't addressed how we're going to try to fix it.
Yeah, I guess we can look at equipment upgrades.
I mean, and that equipment can go with us when we move, but my thing is, we've been here temporarily 2.5 years, and I got a feeling it's gonna be another year at least, bare minimum. We're using the taxpayers' dollars, and I think we should get all we can out of it.
Well, I guess first thing, if people are having issues hearing it or just whatever, if they could direct those to me personally,
All right.
I'd like to know personally what's happening. Then staff and I can come up with a plan. We'll look at equipment upgrades. We'll work on some things that we think it could be, and come back to you with those ideas.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kendall.
Any additional discussion on this topic?
No, sir, not for me.
Next item on the agenda is selection of the 2017 mayor. The mayor is selected by nomination. Nominations do not require a second. I would like to state that I am going to withdraw myself from the nomination process, so therefore I will not accept any nominations for mayor or vice mayor. So, gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
This is for mayor and vice? Just mayor.
Should be mayor and vice mayor. That is correct. Mayor will be first and vice mayor will be
I just wanna
next.
check. I didn't see it on here.
I as well.
They
am
both
taking-
get picked at the same time, am I correct?
You can do that if you want, or do them separately.
Well,
Well-
no, what I'm saying is, tonight, we're picking a mayor
Yeah.
and a vice mayor.
Yeah, I just, it wasn't on here, so I didn't know.
I'm taking myself completely out of the running as well, and I would like to nominate for mayor, Paul Bauer, and for vice mayor, Marcus Castle.
Any additional nominations?
You for vice mayor who, Justin?
Marcus Kessler.
Any additional nominations? Okay, this will be a vote for Mayor Paul Bauer. Do we need a poll? Okay, I will poll the commission. Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Castler,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams votes yes, Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
I abstain. Can I say yes?
Not a vote. He's a heck of a guy.
We want to know how you feel about this.
Yes.
Welcome, Mayor Bauer.
Mayor Bauer.
Is it your pleasure that I do the vice mayor, or you want to take over?
You go right ahead.
Okay.
You're doing a fine job.
This is for nomination for vice mayor, Commissioner Marcus Castler, Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Castler,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams votes yes, Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Bauer.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll get you your
Yes,
wig and your robe.
Congratulations.
You got it.
Are we moving now?
Yeah.
Moving out.
What will be our new
Do
position?
you want us to move now? I mean, yeah, I guess.
You'll be in athletic
Going all the way down.
I go to the end.
Where are we going?
Go next, you'll go here when you.
Here, you might need that. And that's yours too.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and move down.
Congratulations.
Right.
Did I congratulate you too? Yeah.
Congratulations, Marcus.
Here, take my deal with
Oh, yeah. Better grab mine.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Sir.
Everybody just call Bauer anyway.
Let's see. So we'll move on to the city manager's report.
Mayor and Commissioners, congratulations, Mayor
Thank you.
Bauer, Vice Mayor Castler. Well, the big news for the day was that we held the bid openings this afternoon for the new Emergency Services Building. And as it stands right now, the apparent low bids total roughly $5.26 million. However, there were 4 sub-bids or trade contracts that were not received. And those were for polished concrete flooring, overhead doors for the fire department, Gypcrete, which is a thin flooring layer between the first and second floor of on the fire stations. It's fire protection, and a fire suppression system. So those 4 subcontracts will be rebid. We also have a couple of that we are looking at rebidding that Crossland was the lone bidder, so that we want to look to rebid those portions. And then, we feel really good about the numbers that came in. We'll be doing a little value engineering on some of the different aspects of it. We'll be looking at some in-house purchasing of some of equipment to see if there's a possibility of savings along that line. And of course, then we always have the fallback that we have a guaranteed contract for the $5.4 million. So it's really Crossland's onus to find those savings, but I think we were definitely pleased by the number of bids that we had on each of the subcontracts. And then just the numbers kind of fell right in line with what we anticipated that they would be. Now, there were technically 3 alternate bids. One was for a Sally Port, one was for armored vehicle storage, and then the third one had to do with masonry, using split-face masonry on the building. And and obviously, the way the base bids come in, there's not going to be probably any room for the addition of the Sally Port in that $5.4 million guaranteed contract. We don't have a exact total, but it's roughly $83,000 to $85,000 to add the Sally Port. Roughly $96,000 if we were to add the armored storage.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Is that $83,000 Sally Port, is that brick and mortar? Is that what you're doing, and it's, comes off the building?
Yes, it's not just a lean-to or something fenced-in area. I mean, that
We maybe down the road could add that if we found the funding, or have we explored cheaper alternatives? Fence, gated?
we did not. There are probably cheaper alternatives, a fenced-in area. Ideally, we'd like to have it weatherproofed, and more secure than a fence. However, with your permission, I'd like to explore some possibilities for pursuing that now, and at the next meeting, we'd come back with a plan for funding that portion.
I'm glad
It's
to hear
still,
that.
like I said, it's not part of the base bid, but that base bid will still fit in that, into that guaranteed contract amount. But I think it's something that is worth exploring, and I think that we can secure funding to pay for it. Like I said, I'd just like your permission to bring something back to the next meeting to explore it a little further.
Yeah, I think, my opinion is we should at least explore adding that.
Okay.
Guys' thoughts? I mean, we need to look at how we fund it, but, that's been something from the onset that's been,
Is it Sally Port or
Needed.
the Armory?
Pardon me?
The Sally Port or the,
Well, I believe just the Sallyport, the armored vehicle storage, well, while it's, something we kind of want, it's far from an absolute need. The Sallyport, in my opinion, and I know in Chief Bromley's opinion, is a definite need, something we can live without, but we would prefer not to. If we can come up with a reasonable plan to fund it.
That seems to be the one of two things I heard about during this whole process, was a
Yep.
jail and a Sallyport.
Correct.
The rest of it was, we want a jail and Sallyport.
Yeah.
So I'd be willing to listen
I
to.
think it's more than accommodating, asking for what they've kind of had to give up a little bit, and kind of what they've been through to do something like that.
Like I said, I think we can bring to you a plan to fund it. And we were told to expect approximately $100,000. That was what Crossland had kind of figured
in
the
savings.
cost would be for the Sallyport.
Okay.
And that's why we chose to add it as an alternate and not try to cram it into that guaranteed price. So, we'll look to put that together for the next agenda. Just real quick, as far as City Hall, they're still continuing to put in windows. I just did a quick count tonight before I walked in, and 56 left to install, so they're about 2/3 of the way done. And they continue to move right along on that process. We are still on track to get that out to bid by the end of the month. We have had some news on the airport laydown yard. BNSF contacted Chuck Shively with an email to say that Siemens had indicated to them that the price for the rental of the land was too high, and which is a little confusing because BNSF is the one who approached us to tell us what that price would be. And so we did. They are in negotiations with Siemens right now, and expect to bring back a counter proposal for it. They also continue to market, BNSF Logistics continues to market that to other people, other companies that may have some interest in it. So as of right now, it's not a dead item, but it might be on life support a little bit. So we're waiting to hear back from them on that.
I'd be curious to know if the opportunity arrives to ask them what they're paying for this similar properties in other locations,
Certainly.
because that kind of surprised me a little bit. We can talk about it a little bit later, but when you're in negotiations with them, ask Siemens what they're used to paying into who.
Okay. Well,
They're probably not going to tell you, but I'd
and
ask.
like I said, it was them who approached us
Right.
and
With
told
the
us
price.
would we be comfortable at this payment level?
So BNSF,
BNSF,
that's the middleman.
Burlington Northern, pardon me?
He's the middleman, essentially.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, they're looking for a place.
They're kind of marketing it, and so we were a little surprised by that. But traffic signals, downtown traffic signals, you will probably have noticed that 9th and Elm, the traffic signal went out middle of the night last weekend, I believe it was. And electric department looked at it and determined it would take completely rewiring that system to make those signals work. So we'd already put forth a program to start eliminating traffic signals in the downtown area. So we started with 9th and Elm Street. Temporary stop signs have been installed. The electric department will be working to remove those traffic signals there, and then we will progress downtown. We're starting to look at our options for signing, what the poles and stuff will look like.
You have a timeline, roughly? Are we gonna take out all the stoplights downtown? Or-
Yeah, basically from Walnut to Elm, 7th to 9th, essentially. I think there's like 40 some.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a plan we had brought forth to the commission earlier in the year.
And we're gonna have some yield signs at some of them?
I think everything that was set up to be stop signs, but I'll have to clarify that on that. I'm not sure that it's all four-way stops. There are some that are just two-way stops, I believe, but.
So,
But the funding had already been identified and approved in a plan we brought forth earlier last year in 2016.
so two-way stop and the other two ways go freely, non-stop.
Yeah, in some of those, and 9th and Elm, I think, is one of those. Currently, we have set it up as a four-way stop because that's how the traffic signals were set, and we didn't want until we could better announce it. And but I think the plan is to maybe make that a two-way.
Like 9th Street.
And I was thinking 9th Street goes through east and west, and they'll stop at north and south. But I may be backwards on our plan with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to put a layout of what we're doing, timeline of when it's expected to be done, and then put it out on the media so everybody can see it. So that, I mean, I knew the 9th and Elm went out last week because I was downtown and saw it, and then the signals were stop signs were put up pretty quick, so that was good. I just think it'd be good if we just had an overall plan put so everyone could see what we're doing.
Are we still going with the as fail, we may have talked about this and it escaped my head. As it fails, we just don't replace, or are we actually going to, now that it's happening, slowly just get rid of them?
Well, the plan all along was to probably do it kind of at one time. But now that one failed and is a permanent fail, obviously we'll remove that, and then we'll get a timeline put together. We still have to purchase the poles and stuff for the stop signs. We're looking at decorative type poles and things like that.
Would this be something that would tie in with the branding?
Yes.
As you do it?
Yes. And, speaking of that was next on my list. We are having a WebEx meeting tomorrow with Professor Thomas. We're very close to having a final product. He wanted to run a couple things by us before we come forth with a presentation. So we're close in that regards. And this is maybe something I could have thrown in a little bit earlier. Channel 13, there'd been some comments about the information channel, and it's just the anything that we could do to liven it up, for lack of a better word. Chris was able to add some music. Right now, it's some canned background music that, quite honestly, I'm not smart enough to tell you how he got it done, but he figured it out. But we're also exploring some options, possibly adding the radio station as a background. And there's some things we have to negotiate first on that as to legalities. We're also looking at some programming platforms. They're web-based that would allow us to schedule content on Channel 13 and add a few features that it has lacked.
Is there any way that we could somehow rebroadcast this, or?
Well, and that is one of the things that we've discussed internally, that we would like the ability to rebroadcast the weekly, the commission meeting later in the week. Obviously, adding some weather to it, possibly some music or some programming in the background.
Some of these pictures?
And, you know, there's been some requests, or some talk anyway, I haven't received a formal request, that some of that information is good. Like if you're visiting Coffeyville and you're staying in a hotel and there's that access channel, and some of that information that has kind of been, it seems a little static and never changing, but it's important information. A lot of our history, some of those types of things, when, you know, the sites to see, places to visit, stuff like that. And we're going to explore trying to put some more of that back on there. And understand it's a little boring, for lack of a better word.
So
but-
basically, when I go to Branson to go to vacation, they have the Branson channel, not that amped up, but it's similar to that.
Yeah, I have never been to Branson, so I can't tell you, but
Well,
yeah,
but-
but yeah.
With the, well, they're a little concerning. You haven't been to Branson. I don't know what's going on. Everybody goes to Branson. Is there any way we could possibly look into making some revenue off of it?
No, it's not,
Ads?
it's not allowed by the rules of the government access channel. They're not
Oh.
allowed to. And that's part of the things we have to explore with the radio station as far as what programming, because
They'll be advertising.
advertising does go across there. So it's not something we can use to make money. We're going to have another meeting of the city-county partnership. That'll be next Wednesday, the 16th. And kind of on the agenda is to narrow our focus on 2 or 3 items that we all think are feasible, and try to bring those to implementation.
So is this meeting together, is it just supposed to be you and administration, or will we ever come to a point where all of our commissioners can meet?
Well, the goal is, the end goal is to bring this all in front of all the governing bodies. We're just kind of doing some of the preliminary work, trying to weed out some of the things that think will work, and some that we just know probably can't make work. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Once we've narrowed our focus and have some things that we're ready to bring to the governing bodies, then the idea, I believe, is to bring it, have a group meeting of all the bodies that are concerned. So, the Chamber of Commerce's annual banquet is Thursday, January 26th, and because our membership allows us one table, and so I'm going to need some RSVPs from you if you're interested, you and your spouse or significant other or whatever would like to attend. If you could let me know by probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, if you're able to attend. And then a reminder, Monday the 16th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and the city offices will be closed that day. So I'd entertain any questions.
Questions? Thank you, Kendall. So now we'll open it up to comments from the public. The public is free to make comments on items not listed on the agenda. Please address the comments to the commission as a body, and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Anyone have any comments to make, please come to the podium. Okay, seeing no comments, we'll move on to the next item. Comments from the commissioners and staff. Well, first, I'll make a comment. I'd like to thank all of you guys for having the trust in me to take on this role as the mayor. I know it's going to be a journey, but I'm willing to take it on. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Paul, we appreciate you stepping up and doing it. I think we all have got plenty of confidence in you, and we're happy you'll take it.
Well, you know, I know I wasn't elected to this position, so I wanted to point that out, that I was appointed to this position by all you guys, and I am truly thankful that you gave me the opportunity to be the mayor.
Well, we set you up, you just don't know it yet.
That's what I'm. Any other comments from the commission? or staff?
I don't know, thank our mayor for being mayor for a while.
Thank you.
Probably worth the
Chris.
thank you.
Yep, thank you, Chris.
Thank you for the thank you, Jim.
You're welcome, Chris.
Anything else? All right, move to close this meeting and move to executive session for how long do you guys want? 15 minutes. 15 minutes? So we'll start at 7:20, end at 7,
For attorney-client privilege.
for, yeah, attorney-client privilege. Thank you. We'll begin at 7:20 and end at 7:35. Did I miss something? Read it? Okay. So I move to recess to executive session for discussion of items deemed confidential and attorney-client privilege to include Gene Ratzliff and Mike Shook, and to reconvene on or before 7:35.
I second that motion. All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.